Hello, bro. So back with more books. It's probably going to be a noisy video because I'm sitting on an antique settee, which likes to creak a lot. So get used to it, or don't. I don't really care what you do. You can hear it creaking, bruv. The Lincoln Conspiracy: Secrets kept hidden for 100 years are now revealed. Plus 32 pages of startling photos. New facts reveal the shocking step-by-step conspiracy against America's most loved president. Who was involved? On April 14th, 1865, President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated while attending a play at Ford's Theater. Historical accounts tell us the murder was committed by a crazed actor named John Wilkes Booth and no one else. Now, after more than a century, startling new answers are uncovered for such questions as why did the president's guard leave his post at Ford's Theater? Why did the Washington telegraph system mysteriously fail moments after the fatal shot was fired? Why were road blocks put up on every exit leaving Washington except on the killer's escape route? Why did a number of high government officials turn down President Lincoln's personal request to meet him at Ford Theater? Good questions, bruv. Guarantee there was a conspiracy. And John Wilkes Booth probably was the Lee Harvey Oswald of it all. But since I'm not going to read the book, I don't know. It'll look good on my shelf, though. Jack Kerouac's Scattered Poems. Jack Kerouac was pretty funny in interviews, but his poetry and fiction wasn't very good. Daydreams for Ginsberg. I lie on my back at midnight, hearing the marvelous, strange chime of the clocks. I know it's midnight, and in that instant the whole world swims in the sight for me. In the form of beautiful, swarming, Muda worlds. Everything is happening. Shining Buddha lands. Booty blazing in faith. I know I'm forever right, and all's I got to do is I hear the ordinary extant voices of ladies talking in some kitchen at midnight, oilcloth cups of cocoa, cardo. Shut up. Now this is literature. The Devil on Horseback by Victoria Holt, Jackson County Library. Minelle Maddox grew up on a great English estate, but as the school mistresses, her voice was never could be at beautiful Derringham Manor. Victoria Holt, a English author? I don't know. The Devil on Horseback. See that cover again? Let's read the first page, see how it's suiting them. What was her real name? I assume she's dead, but I don't know. Derringham Manor. It was a sequence of unfortunate events which brought me to the Chateau Savine. My father was a sea captain who had gone down with a ship when I was 5 years old, and having lived in moderate comfort all her life, my mother found herself forced to living for herself and her daughter. A penniless woman, said my mother, must either live through her mop or her needle, unless she has some education which can be turned to good purpose. Being a woman in this category, there were two courses open to her. She could teach the young or be a companion to the elderly. She chose the former of these alternatives. She was a woman of strong character, determined to succeed, and with very little means at her disposal, she rented a small lodge on the estate of Sir John Darringham in Sussex and started a school for young ladies. And it doesn't sound that bad. Saved by a Song, The Art and Healing Power of Songwriting by Mary Gauthier. I only got it because it was a signed edition, and thus I plan on selling it. Ditto with this book, Swad Amari, Mother of Strangers, signed by the author. Pretty good cover, honestly. A man inside an orange. Signed 2022. Swad. To my father. Nike stalks the mansion. This is about supposedly the true story of the Cameron family's terrifying encounter with the supernatural. Night stalks. Oh. This was 30 cents at Volunteer of America's half-off sale today. Or yesterday, as it were. I'm not trying to pick this off. I can't do it anymore. I mean, I don't even believe the original story of this, so the movie didn't shock me as being anything but a continuation of the fiction of the story. But what do I know, bruv? Ghosts and crows and things with O's. I think I have this book already, honestly. No, up in the air, down on the ground. Can you find any O's sounds? Meo, meo. Oh, this is a good book. You're goddamn right it is. You're goddamn right it is. Things in great shape. The year 1976. This is not an A book. This is not a B book. This is not a C book. This is not a D book. This is not an E book. This is not an F book. This is not a G book. This is not a etc. etc. This is an O book. A no book? No, an O book. What's an O book? This is brilliant. It's a book about O's. Oh. I don't see any O's, do you? Yeah, it's fucking quality. I'll have to read this on the channel if no one else has. Not on my channel, I mean. On the tube. E.B. White on dogs. See, the thing I don't get is I keep finding authors and E.B. White books. My guess is they probably have a bin in their little storage space at the store. And when the half-off books, or the half-off sale, after it happens, they cart out more stuff. Which makes no sense why I would have found two E.B. White books within 2 weeks, but maybe it's been 3 weeks. But, since they only have the half-off sale once a month, but I got it anyway. Oh, what's it's worth? I don't even care. It's interesting enough. Subject: The House of Christina by Ben Haas. As you can see, the Nazi flags are in the background of Transylvania or wherever the hell this is, with this sultry woman. Native South Carolina, Ben Hayes. What's his name? Ben Haas. Delightful book with marvelously depicted characters. The House of Christina is a magically evocative, immensely readable story that examines love and the chances of its survival over some of the most desperate years of this century. Catastrophic war-torn decades of the 1930s and 40s, set around a noble manor house high on a ridge in the Vienna woods. It charts the subtle crosscurrents that converged in that paradoxical nation, Austria, whose astonishingly graceful culture gave the world so much beautiful music, brilliant science, and philosophy, and Adolf Hitler. At the center of the novel is the current mistress of the house, Krista. Lovely, spoiled, irresponsible, and the men faithfully drawn to her compelling beauty, Robert the Nazi, with whom she shared her childhood, now ready to kill and die for the glory of the Reich, Joseph the Oh my god, whose anti-Nazi plot involves and almost destroys her, and most of all, Land Condon, the American writer who fled to Vienna in the 30s to find peace and respite from personal tragedy, and with whom she is intensely, wonderfully in love. It is a novel that will immediately touch and forever haunt the reader. Oh, that's comic relief, buddy. Let me add this one to the list of books to read. The House of Christina. Why did it say her name's Krista? Her name's Christina. Right. Anyway, here's the cheap Dover edition of Macbeth. I don't know why I got it. It's in pretty good condition, even though it does have some writing, which is notable because it mentions the Thane of Cawdor, which is probably where Robinson Jeffers got the name for one of the titles of his books. It makes sense that he had read Macbeth. I have not read it. I'm not sure I'm ready to. Christmas customs and traditions. This one was too good to pass up, even though it's a Dover edition. Pre-Christian winter festivals. Christmas drama. German Protestant. A French Noel. All these holidays are rather interesting. Pagan survivals. Martinmas. Guy Fawkes Day. All Saints. Pre-Christian winter festivals. The Feast of Fools. Yeah, interesting stuff, Bubba. As you're going to see behind me, we'll get to that in a minute. How the South could have won the Civil War, the fatal errors that led to Confederate defeat. Could the South have won the Civil War? To many, the very question seems absurd since they almost actually did win it. After all, the Confederacy had only a third of the population and 1/11th of the industry of the North. Wasn't the South's defeat inevitable? Not at all, as acclaimed military historian Bevan Alexander reveals in this provocative, counterintuitive new look at the Civil War. In fact, the South most definitely could have won the war, and Alexander documents exactly how a Confederate victory could have come about, how close it came to happening. Yeah. The North had the numbers. That's all they had, quite honestly. Another book I'm not going to read, but interesting enough. The Adventures of English, the biography of a language. And it's not often you find both the hard copy and the paperback, I can't even say it, hardcover copy and the paperback in the same store, let alone on the same shelf, though not together, were they? I picked them both up, bruv. Would be great to have time to read a million books, but I'll never get around to it. Doesn't mean I can't collect them, bruv. When is a pig a og? A guide to confoundingly related English words. Bernice Randall. I do believe, since I've mentioned Palestine recently in the books that I've been seeing. Oh, what's this? Ahoy, you hunky-dory nautical linguist. What is this? Let me see if I can find Palestine in there. Palestine, 57. I mean, there's different factions. Some people say Palestine doesn't even exist, and then other people say Palestine is a set place. Let's see what this says about Palestine. Not that this was years ago, but it was 1991. Palestine and Holy Land are used interchangeably for the historical region in southwestern Asia at the eastern end of the Mediterranean that comprises part of modern Israel, Jordan, and Egypt. In its political sense, Palestine refers to the territory in this region west of the Jordan River. That was a British mandate from 1923 until 1948 when the United Nations established the State of Israel. Interesting, buddy. Stranger at Wildings, a novel of romantic suspense by the author of Moonraker's Bride, Madeline Brent. She was known to her companions in the circus only as Chantal. She had joined them. I know you think this laughter is probably made up, but I don't really look at these books before I pick them up. Only as Chantal. She had joined them in England when she was 13, an orphan, as she believed, alone and abandoned. Mr. Galati and his grandchildren, Leo and Maria, had taken her in and taught her the ways of circus life. Now, at the age of 18, she was an accomplished trapeze artist. Her past was far behind and all but forgotten, until she met the young Englishman in Hungary who called himself Martin. Martin. He had wandered into her life one day, dazed and disheveled, claiming to have lost his memory. But he stirred something in Chantal, whether remembrance or affection or fear, she could not tell. When he disappeared again, as mysteriously as he had come, Chantal might have forgotten him. But on that very night, as she performed with Leo and Maria, there was an accident involving a broken trapeze bar, and Chantal very nearly lost her life. It was unquestionably a case of sabotage, and Martin was the only real suspect. Thus, then, within a fortnight, two visitors arrived at the circus from England, asking for Chantal. Gideon Sumner and his sister Blinda had traveled a very long way to find her and tell her for the first time of the true circumstances surrounding her birth, of the relative she had never known who now wanted to welcome her back. Her journey in time would take her far from Hungary and the circus and the stranger called Martin to Wildings, an ancient home in the English countryside, and there she would find that the mystery of her past had only just begun to unfold. Cray, buddy. Exploring My Chicken, Michigan, Delphine Newcomb. Father Marquette. That's right, I started the book on Father Marquette about 2 months ago and then never got back to it, did I? Oh, there's his phrase. 1963. Michigan is our state. Lucky us. The boy governor, he loved Michigan. He had great plans to make Michigan a great state. He worked hard and everyone was happy when Michigan became a state in 1837. Timber! Read aloud nursery tales. Retold by Caroline Kramer, illustrated by Phoebe Erickson. This is my book, Janine Schiffman. The Three Billy Goats Gruff. The Free Bears, the Free Little Pigs. Those are always free. The Three Billy Goats Gruff. Once upon a time, there were three Billy Goats Gruff. 1957. There's Gruff. No relation to Henry Roof, I suppose. The Civil War, how and why. The How and Why Wonder Book of the Civil War. Paul Blackwood, 1961, Gettysburg. Why did a general ask Lee not to fight at Gettysburg? In Richmond, Jefferson Davis faced the truth. Unless relief could be sent to Pemberton, sooner or later Vicksburg must fall. General Lee was summoned to an emergency meeting of the Confederate Cabinet. Should troops from the Army of Northern Virginia be sent to Vicksburg? Lee, always first a Virginian, shook his head. He spoke feelingly of what 2 years of war had meant to his proud old state. Farms stripped of food, houses falling apart. His army needed everything: shoes, food, horses. Where could he find them? Lee mentioned the magic word, Pennsylvania. So Lee again invaded the North. It's like a hole full of blubber to a Greenlander, cried one of Lee's generals. On beholding the rich farmlands of the Keystone State, unhappily for Lee, his cavalry under Jeb Stuart became so tranced in chasing toward Washington to capture a federal supply train that contact was lost with the main army. Lee had lost his eyes. The job of the cavalry in such situations is to spy out and report the position of the enemy, and Lee could not know that hard on his heels came the Army of the Potomac, under still another commander. He was General George Gordon Meade, Pennsylvania-born and resolutely determined to defend the soil of his native state. And lastly, but not leastly, The Flying Hockey Stick by Jolly Roger Bradfield. Rand McNally Corporation, Joey Kogelman once owned this book. What year was it? 1966. The Flying Hockey Stick. Barnaby Jones was a boy who had wanted something for years and years. He wanted more than anything to be able to fly like a bird. Ever since he could remember, he had been trying to make some sort of machine that would get him off the ground, if only for a few feet. I take